This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast here on the CLNS Media Network. We're at Gillette Stadium where the Patriots wrapped up their in-stadium practice in front of season ticket holder and Foxborough residents today. I can't even tell you what the score was, what the scoring was. It was like the old international golf tournament where they get different points for different things. But safe to say, Josh Dobbs's white team beat Drake Maye's blue team. Really tough. I mean, first of all, let's just talk about, I like the event. Certainly I like it better than what Bill Belichick used to do, which was basically a glorified, not even a glorified, it was a walkthrough. It was a waste of time. I haven't actually been here in years because it was that much of a waste of time for what I do. I'm sure the team got enough out of it. So Vrabel decided to do full pads. They thudded. They haven't really tackled at all. We did see some tackles, and in fact, Kendrick Bourne got hurt. It looked like he hurt his left foot on a tackle by cornerback Brandon Crosley. Caden Wallace also went out during the game and left the field. I like the idea of the event. I like they went through the walkthrough yesterday. They were in full pads today. More of a scrimmage type situation. I like that. I would have liked to have seen it expanded a little bit. It was only 60 minutes. It moved pretty quickly, and you forget that you rely on replays. There were no replays in here, so I don't know, how well my note-taking was, on the session, but definitely tried. But I will say that, I would actually like to see the Patriots expand this event. When I covered the Packers, they still do it to this day. They have what's called the Family Night Scrimmage, where everybody can buy tickets. It's a fundraiser for charity. They bang the place out. That was actually the first event when I went up there to look at places to live. That was going on, and I was like, it was like a regular season game at Lambeau. I guess I shouldn't give the Crafts any ideas on how to make a little bit more money from this. But, I thought it was a good event. Considering they have 2 days off on Saturday and Sunday, they had the walkthrough yesterday. I would have liked to have seen them gone a little bit longer. It was only 60 minutes. Another 30 minutes would have been good, or an hour. Work on a few more things, but I'm not an NFL coach. As far as so the way they did this was they completely jumbled up the rosters. So, for example, like on the offensive line with Drake Maye, you had Will Campbell, Jared Wilson, Ben Brown at center, and then you had Mekhi Butler, who was like the four-string. Tyrese Robinson's like four-string right guard. DeMontre Jacobs at right tackle. I didn't love that. Mixing and matching receivers, tight ends. It was really hard to really take much away from a unit team basis. But so you try to look at it a little bit more on an individual basis. But of course, like the quarterback position, they're dependent on a lot of people around them. So even then it's tough to judge. But, a couple of takeaways. I thought Josh Dobbs was really good in this practice. I had him as 10 of 12 with a touchdown, which was the play of the night. He had missed Demario Douglas on the play before. Then he hit Kayshon Boutte deep for about a 50-yard touchdown down the left sideline, beat Marcellus Dial. He looks, really comfortable, stays in the pocket a while, isn't afraid to push the ball down the field. On the other side of the coin, not a good night for Drake Maye. It just wasn't. I had him for 9 of 17 with 2 interceptions. The first one was sort of a poorly thrown check down. We've seen this from him in game action where he comes down to it and sort of puts a lot of mustard on the ball, and it was a little bit wide of Stephon Diggs, and he got a hand on it, and it was picked off by I think it was Robert Spillane, who gave credit, I think that was to Kobe Minor, the last pick in the draft this year. Maye's other interception came on the final play of the scrimmage. It was a 2-minute situation. There was some sort of mix-up with him and Kyle Williams, who had run a hitch on the left. Something happened because Alex Austin jumped it, would have taken to the house if he didn't slide down at the 5-yard line. Maye's only touchdown came on a trick play. There were about 2 different handoffs and end arounds and stuff like that, and Kyle Williams was wide open behind the defense, for a touchdown. So Maye started 4 of 5 on that opening drive, including the touchdown on the trick play. He went, my math was wrong. So he went 5 of 12 after that with the 2 interceptions. There were a lot of times where there was pressure. He couldn't find people. He's throwing balls away, running out of bounds, turfing the ball, things like that. It was not a great operation, but I don't know, what can you expect when you're working with different guys than you have been in practice. The kickers, both kickers, were perfect. Borregales got more opportunities. He hit from 34, 42, and 53. Parker Romo had 2 extra points and a 33-yarder. Borregales also had an extra point. I thought the defense got after it, making plays. Jalen Hawkins had 2 interceptions. Robert Spillane had the pick, and he also had a fumble recovery. Let's talk about that for a second. So we're back in the stadium where we last saw the Patriots, and Ramondre Stevenson makes this nice run up the middle. He's bursting in the secondary, and then Brandon Crosley, a depth cornerback, comes from his left and punches the ball out. So here we go again with Ramondre Stevenson in the fumbles. I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation this week. Also reminiscent of last year, Demontre Jacobs had a false start on the first 3rd down of the session. There was a lot of pass rush. Jeremiah Farms had a good game. Truman Jones had a couple of pressures. Barmore, Swinson, Landry, Anthony Jennings, Spillane, all got pressure. And let's also talk about the other thing. Will Campbell, it did not look like he had a good night. Giardi saw this. I didn't. He saw that on a couple of back-to-back plays, gave up pressures to Truman Jones, who Mike Vrabel earlier had praised for his work in the offseason. I would just say we also saw Will Campbell after that get some help from Ramondre Stevenson. Not the worst thing in the world, but I will say this caps a rough week for the 4th overall pick. I'm sure that will be a topic of conversation this week. Again, I'm not panicking. Rookies especially go through this. I want to see how he regroups this weekend, gets a little rest, watches some film, talks with the coaches. Let's see how he does next week. Let's see how he does in the Commanders' joint practice. And then I might start panicking a little bit. But, just overall, the offense, the mixed and matched offense under Drake Maye with Campbell out there, it was not great. And it sort of got worse as the practice went on. Drops from Efton Chisholm and Lan Larison. Lan Larison had a nice little draw touchdown. That was nice to see. One of the picks was thrown by Demario Douglas on a trick play that they can launch into the sun because it was that bad. But I think that's about it. Players who were out today, Mac Hollins, who did go through warm-ups on the field but didn't participate, Christian Gonzalez, Carlton Davis, Keon White, Garrett Bradbury, Antonio Gibson, Jelani Tavai, Joshua Farmer, Sidney So, and, of course, Fedarian Lowe is still on the PUP list. So, look, sort of up and down night for everybody. Some good work, some not great work. But this is what camp's for, and we'll see how they rebound from this next week, especially Drake Maye and Will Campbell and Ramondre Stevenson. But that'll do it for now for me from Gillette Stadium. It's the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast on CLNS Media Network. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Patriots Press Pass, there's Celtics coverage, Bruins, all that stuff. Subscribe, rate, review, give us a thumbs up or what have you. We would appreciate it. So have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.